right. Let this thing make sure it's going live. Sitting here this afternoon in Miles City, Montana at the Bronx Bulls and Bibles camp with J.R. Vezain. He's a regular bareback instructor. We had to rearrange things like we talked about earlier this year with all the COVID stuff. Today's bareback, tomorrow's saddle bronc, Sunday's bull riding. And we've got some great instructors here today. J.R. Vezain, Trenton Montero, Justin Miller, Troy Vira here instructing. Great pickup men. You saw a post about some of those pickup men that are here helping. We've got some great stock contractors. Sitting here with my buddy JR. Become a tradition coming here together. We did a conversation last year, and so I thought I'd catch up with him while we were bucking some horses this afternoon and stuff. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man.
Yeah.
It's always good to be around bucking horses.
Yeah, it's good to hear them kicking chutes out there and hearing the people get excited, seeing these guys bucking. I thought I'd visit a little bit with JR. He's been coming to Matitsi in June for the Becoming Champions Rodeo Bible Camp. He's been coming here. What's this? 4 years now?
Yeah.
And we were here together the very first year. Why do you help with these things, man? Why do you come here, JR?
That's a funny question. I've never really thought about why I help. I think not only to pass on the knowledge and tips and tools and that sort of thing about bareback riding, but more importantly, my passion about coming to these deals is to share Jesus, man. And that's why I really like the layout of these schools. Is like you said earlier, the number one thing that our mission is to show everybody that Jesus loves them and that we all need Jesus. And secondly, being a bareback rider, you know what I mean? So I guess that's why I like to come, is to show people, put their faith where the faith needs to be put, and with God all things are possible. And don't quit, don't give up, and keep rocking on.
Yeah, that's cool. And you know, I tell you, it is always. I always hear the same thing from the instructors. You think that these camps are about the students, but I think every instructor that ever comes here, comes to these things and helps, probably gets as much out of it as the students do, just with their own growth and walk with the Lord. What do you think about that?
100% honesty. We had Cowboy Church at noon, and you have us stand up there or sit up there, whatever it may be, right at the end of it, and have kids come down and accept the Lord or ask for prayer. And my heart gets beaten more during that than watching these kids get on bucking horses. You know what I mean? That fires me up. That's awesome to see young men humble themselves, take that big step, that leap of faith, and come ask and say, hey, I'm a broken man in a broken world, and I need God. And I get more fired up about that than watching great rides. Yeah,
that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. So what's one of the things that the Lord's been doing in your life in the last year, since we sat down last year at this thing?
Oh man, he well, like I was talking about earlier, I don't know if I'd say I struggled, but I've really been soul searching on what my calling is since the wreck, and how do I continue to fulfill my calling and do what God is willing me to do. And I do believe I'm going to receive a miracle. I believe God's handprints have been all over me since the day of my wreck. And one thing that He's really been showing me is taking that big step of boldness. And like I was saying earlier, the men in the Bible are as human as we are. And if they are as human as we are, that means that those people didn't get put in the Bible because they were hid under a rock. They didn't get put in the Bible because they didn't change people's lives. They didn't get put in the Bible for us to read about because they weren't world changers, they weren't leaders, they weren't anything. But we tend to read these stories and we almost look at them as bigger than life and bigger than us, and they did more than we can do because they are great, powerful men of God. But in James it tells us that they were just as human as we are. So why are we sticking our faith in the basket and covering it up? Why are we not turning the top off and taking that bold step and telling people, hey, what you're saying is wrong, hey, what you're watching is wrong, hey, what you're listening to is wrong, and not being scared of the offense there, or being looked at as weird, or being looked at as different, or being looked at as the Jesus freak, or whatever you want to say. Why are we scared to do that?
Yeah.
We are just as human as those guys in the Bible, the women in the Bible, whatever it wants to talk about. We are the exact same humans as they were. So we have it in us to be world changers. We have it in us to be leaders. We have it in us to bring people to Christ and to perform miracles and to show people the love of Jesus in our everyday life. So I guess what God's really been tugging at me about is that, taking that step and being bolder, preaching Jesus more, showing more people, not just doing it in my house alone by myself.
Yeah.
Not we're all called to do that too, but taking the next step and not necessarily saying that we're all supposed to be preachers, but we all are in a walk of life for a reason, and
we don't hide our light under the basket.
Exactly. Start taking that bold step, because the world's in need of it right now, if ever before.
Yeah.
This world's in need of knowing who Jesus is, and us as Christians need to take that step of boldness and not be scared to show our faith.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. You know, people are going to watch. Some people are watching it live right now. People are going to watch it recorded later. And if you don't know anything about JR, he broke his back a couple of years ago on a bucking horse, and it may have slowed him down a little bit. But you know, he's judging PBR bull ridings. He's running cattle, running sheep. He's sharing the gospel. He's running all over the country, climbing on horses. He had his uncle and some friends help him out, built a crane on his trailer so that he can get up on his horse, and got some great stories of falling off your horse and different things and getting back on. And so he doesn't slow down, and hadn't let anything hold him back, and still believes that one of these days he's going to walk, and I believe it too. And so I appreciate you taking the time to visit, and we got 2 more days of this. Stay around, keep an eye out. We'll have some more encouragement from some of our instructors. God bless. Have a great afternoon.